Coming up on Sports Desk.
Pitch to Sprague. It's a drive. It's deep left field. It's way back. It's gone. Home run, Ed Sprague on the first pitch that he sees from Jeff Reardon. And this game has been turned right around.
Sports Desk, brought to you by Chevy Truck.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Desk. I'm Gino Retta. A lot of good stories to tell you about, but none bigger than the tale that unfolded in Atlanta on Sunday evening. Game 2 of the World Series. The Jays trailing 1-0 and very anxious to leave the South with a split. Games of this magnitude often create unlikely heroes. Bill Mazeroski, Rick Dempsey, Mickey Hatcher, just to mention a couple of those names. With all the big names in Sunday night's matchup, I can't imagine anyone picking the hero in this ball game. Brave fans looking for a strong outing from John Smoltz, and he certainly gave the Jays a rough ride the first time through the order. Devon White, Joe Carter, Dave Winfield, John Olerud, Kelly Gruber. Smoltz K's 5 of the first 6 Jay batters he faces. Bottom of the second, Braves score first. David Cone uncorks the wild pitch. Dave Justice scores, and the Braves get on the board first. They lead 1-0. Top of the first, Toronto finally gets a hit off Cone. Off of Smoltz, and guess who it is? Yes, it is David Cone. The next batter, Devon White. He drills a shot to right field. Dave Justice charges. Good defensive effort. Keeps the Jays off the scoreboard. Top of the fourth inning, still 1-0. This time John Smoltz bounces the pitch. Alomar trying to score from third. Alomar slides under the tag. His hand is on the bag. Then comes the tag. He's safe. The umpire says no, he's out. Top of the fifth now, 2-0 Atlanta. 2 on for David Cone. He delivers. Single to center. Border scores. Then Bream throws the ball away, and Lee goes to third base. The next batter now is Devon White. Hits a grounder to second. Mark Lemke gets there, but bobbles it, getting it out of his glove, so White safe. Lee scores. Game tied at 2. Bottom of the fifth inning now. Braves regain the lead. Dave Justice pulls a shot to right. Alomar can't get there. Sanders scores. 3-2 Braves. They led 4-2 after 5. Top of the 8th, Jays start to rally. Dave Winfield slaps a single past Lemke. Roberto Alomar was on base. He scores. 1 run back for the Blue Jays. Carter on third. Top of the 9th now. 1 out. Derek Bell on first. Pinch hit walk. Pinch hitter Ed Sprague at the plate. It is gone. Ed Sprague takes Jeff Reardon out of the ball yard. A 2-run shot. Jays up 5-4. Unbelievable. Bottom of the 9th now. 2 on, 2 out. Terry Pendleton at the plate. Jane Fonda praying. Pendleton hops it up to Kelly Gruber. Now watch closely, folks. Kelly Gruber squeezes and says, here's the tomahawk chop for you. In their face. Eddie Sprague, the unlikely hero, comes through big time. 2-run shot in the 9th inning with 2 away. And the Blue Jays defeat Atlanta 5-4 to even up the best-of-7 series at a game apiece. 1 home run. It was the one that made all the difference. It was Eddie Sprague's first, obviously first in the World Series, because that was his first at-bat in the World Series. Tom Henke comes in for the save. His first of the World Series, his 4th of postseason play. Rod Smith is at the ball game, and he has this post-game report for us.
It's the dream of every kid who grows up playing baseball, to be in a World Series game in the 9th inning with your team down and you at the plate with a chance to win it. Ed Sprague once had that dream, and on this night, he lived it out.
I mean, I think every kid who plays baseball, or any who doesn't play baseball, just, you know, with a stick in their hand, I mean, you always go through that routine. And, you know, I did it today in batting practice. Gene Tennis, you know, I had 1 pitch left, he's like, you know, bottom 9th, you know, game 7, all this other stuff, you know. So, I mean, every kid does that, and, you know, it's kind of a dream come true.
You know, Sprague first pitch, you know, what can you say? I mean, I'm happy for him, and I'm sure a lot of people in Toronto are happy for him, too.
When I seen Ed hit the ball, it was just a tremendous feeling, but I had to keep it down within myself, basically, and because I had to go out and get 3 outs, and I didn't want to get too happy yet because we had 3 outs to go.
I've been watching him when he first came in, and he'd been getting ahead with fastballs. So I was looking for a fastball, and I just wanted to make sure it was down the zone. Rance Mullen told me, hey, make sure he brings the fastball down. You know, I saw that he'd thrown some first pitch fastballs to Gruber and to Bell and some other guys, so I was looking for a fastball down the zone, and I got it. I don't know whether it was a mistake on his part, or you know, I'm sure he considers it a mistake, but you know, it was a first pitch fastball. He was trying to get ahead of me.
The all-time save leader. Boom, first pitch. I told him when it came out, I said, it's not that easy. But it was great. I'm happy for him, and the team's ecstatic.
So I just got to get on base and utilize my speed. You know, try to get a jump, try to steal a base, and try to score on a base hit. But unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to because Sprague hit the first pitch.
When he hit that pitch, did you have any doubt in your mind it was gone?
Man, no, I just threw my hands up in there and just sprinted around the bases.
As everybody knows, I just can't control that. I can go out and do the best I can. Last World Series, I think gave up 2 runs, didn't get a win. This time I give up 2 or 3 and don't get a win. That's just the way it goes.
I like to go up there and hopefully win all 3 of them. If we don't, I'd like to get 2 out of 3. That way we come back here let's see, if we go up there win 2 out of 3, we come up here with, you know, winning more games. They got to come back and beat us twice here. So that's what we hope to do.
During the summer, Ed Sprague felt a bit of heat from Canadian fans when he defended his wife, Christian Sprague, the American synchro swimmer who, in a controversial decision, beat out Canada's Sylvie Frechette for the gold medal. Well, if any Canadian fans hold that against Sprague, I'm sure they don't anymore. His hit has put the Blue Jays back into the World Series with 3 games coming up at the Sky Dome. Rod Smith, TSN in Atlanta.
And game number 3, the Blue Jays will give the ball to Juan Guzman, 2-0 in the postseason. Steve Avery, up and down performance in the postseason so far. He is 1-1 Tuesday, 8:30 first pitch. All right, football and hockey coming up next on Sports Desk, including the Leafs and the North Stars. Pat on Sports Desk, including the Leafs and the North Stars. Pat Burns
certainly expressing their displeasure over last night's flag incident in Atlanta. In case you missed it, the Maple Leaf was displayed wrong end up during the opening ceremonies of Game 2 of the World Series, and that was the talk of the town and the country.
Maybe it was a mistake. I have my doubts about it, quite frankly, because an upside-down flag is the international symbol of distress.
The sentiment was unanimous. When an American Marine color guard carried the Canadian flag upside down, it touched a raw nerve. Outraged Canadians jammed telephone lines at TV stations, while Major League Baseball scrambled for an explanation.
Major League Baseball apologizes to the people of Canada and to all baseball fans for the unintentional and proper display of the Canadian flag during the national anthems prior to the start of tonight's World Series games.
Even the Prime Minister had his say on the incident this morning on a live radio show in Toronto.
But I felt just as dismayed and upset as any Canadian. I don't know the facts. It may have just been an error when they got going. I hope that's the case.
Oh, Canada, our home in native land.
Canadian rock star Tom Cochrane's version of Oh Canada, with a few words and verses missing, also struck out with most fans.
Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
The flap over the flag and anthem overshadowed what turned out to be a great ball game. The Jays trailed for most of the game before a rally in the 9th inning brought them that miraculous 5-4 victory over the Braves. Well, Toronto is feeling pretty proud of itself these days, and that.
Good evening, I'm Jeffrey Kaufman. Well, it's all even. The Toronto Blue Jays and Atlanta Braves have won 1 game each in the World Series. And it seems almost all of Canada is still talking about Ed Sprague's 9th inning pinch hit home run. It gave the Jays a 5-4 win last night. Brice Dowbiggin joins us now with a recap of all the excitement and a look ahead. Bruce?
Well, Jeffrey, I think the home run is worth talking about. I guess for people who are not baseball fans, it's hard to realize how unique a comeback that was last night for the Blue Jays. And they've had 2 of them in the past week. Roberto Alomar, the big home run in the playoffs against Oakland, and now Ed Sprague last night, evening up the World Series against the Atlanta Braves. And it was not a game that started off on the right foot for the Blue Jays. They were already down 1 game, of course, and they had a couple of tough calls from the umpires, as we'll see in the highlight pack. Roberto Alomar trying to score from 3rd base, and the umpire, Mike Riley, well, He blew the call. Safe at home is Alomar. As you can see on the replay, the umpire called him out, and that was looking very much like it was going to be a crucial run. The Blue Jays got offense from unexpected people like pitcher David Cohn. They were within 1 run in the 9th inning, and that run was still haunting them, the one that Alomar might have scored. But Ed Sprague made it all academic with this long, long home run, a 2-run shot in the 9th inning. Top of the 9th makes the Blue Jays a winner off of Jeff Reardon, the ace of the Brave staff. And the Blue Jays, of course, go on to the win last night in Atlanta, and they tied things up at 1 game apiece. And, of course, they got back early this morning, and they were out here again this afternoon. A little bit of a light workout, just keeping the old legs limber and the arms limber with the game number 3 coming up tomorrow night. And we were chatting with a bunch of people, and, of course, the center stage today of all the people that they wanted to talk to was the hero of last night's game, too, Ed Sprague.
I was just thinking we got the lead, and Hankey's going to come in, and I like our chances.
It looked like your feet hit the ground about 4 times going around the base.
Yeah, that's probably the quickest I've got around there in a while.
You know, when I go up to the plate, I'm just looking for a good pitch that I can hit and in the zone where, you know, that I can handle. And that's pretty much what I go up to. I think you do know that some guys, when you get behind in the count, you got to be ready to swing at anything that's close, because you know, they will give them the corners.
I don't know how this team could have played in a World Series and outdoors. It's too cold. It's just too cold. So I can guarantee you the roof will not be open.
And Dave Winfield, of course, making reference to the fact that had this game been played at Old Exhibition Stadium, I think we'd have probably had to put our woolies on and our duffel coats and about several layers of clothing if they're going to play a baseball game there. Everybody very thankful for the Sky Dome for this week's series. Folks from Atlanta are here, of course, and they are just about to do a warm-up on the other side. The Braves are here, and we hope we will have somebody from the Braves side to talk with you later in the show, Jeffrey, when we come back live from the Sky Dome, prepping for Game 3, the first ever World Series game to be played in Canada.
All right. See you in a little while. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, plenty of controversy in last night's game. As Bruce noted, there were, of course, some of those disputed calls at home plate. But it seems there was almost as much controversy off the field as there was on it. It all started when the Canadian flag was paraded onto the field for the opening ceremony.
Now to honor Canada, join in the
This
singing
is how
of
it
the
looked last
Canadian
night in
anthem,
Atlanta as the U.S. Marine Color Guard trooped in our maple leaf upside down. Red-faced Marines were quick to apologize.
Well, I didn't see it when it happened because I was in the air when it occurred, but I felt just as dismayed and upset as any Canadian. I don't know the facts. It may have just been an error when they got going. I hope that's the case.
I think the Blue Jays are going to carry the American flag upside down.
At this Toronto Legion Hall, they know which way is up, and many of the men here think the Americans do too.
I just didn't care for it. And I hope that we retaliate in some manner here in Toronto when they come here tomorrow night.
What do you think we should do?
3 straight, man.
It really upset me. It just goes to show you how ignorant they are down in the States.
But the most stinging criticism was directed at another gaffe in last night's pregame ceremonies.
What I'm really against is that turkey we had trying to sing our national anthem. That was a disaster.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command.
The mangled rendition of the Canadian anthem was sung by a Canadian, rock star Tom Cochrane. And we are assured that there will be no such incidents tomorrow night at Sky Dome. Anne Murray will sing our anthem, and American John Cicada will sing the Star Spangled Banner. And the lyrics will be up on Jumbotron where everyone can read them. Turning to other news, homicide detectives...
Many adoring fans. There's one of last night's heroes, Derek Bell, and the man, Ed Sprague.
Tired. That's what happens when you plow the man. Huh? Good work.
Thank you. Thank you. There's tomorrow night's starter, Juan Guzman, heading hometown packed, then to the Dome for an afternoon workout. Well, there was a whole mess of trouble even before John Smoltz threw out the first pitch last night, like the Canadian flag being paraded upside down during opening ceremony. Shame. Here's Pam Seidel.
The reaction was instantaneous last night.
City TV's switchboard lit up, and every other media outlet in the city was swamped with outraged callers. And today, the city is still buzzing, not only with indignance, but with people hoping to make a fast buck from the scandal.
To order 500 American flags upside down.
All we have left is this one.
So you're actually selling out?
Yeah, and a lot of people have been ordering them, but it's impossible to get 500, like that call I just received. That's going to take about at least 2 weeks.
Being the true Canadians that we are, we would give the Americans a little bit of their own medicine and got an American flag with the upside down. We've had, as a matter of fact, a T-shirt retailer come and ask us for 1,000 if we could have it for him by tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, obviously because of the game. But
Major League Baseball apologized immediately following the incident, and today the U.S. Marine Corps also apologized, with assurances that this was in no way done on purpose. But in spite of that, some Toronto fans aren't so sure.
It's really insulting because even though they say that's a mistake, that they didn't realize that the flag was upside down, it's blatantly obvious that it was upside down. They know what a Canadian flag looks like.
Some people took it very seriously. We've actually had a few people on the air this afternoon that suggested that this is a major conspiracy.
Needless to say, it has been the major topic of conversation around here, I guess.
All day long.
It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night here at the Dome. There are some predictions that Jays fans might overreact to the point of booing the American national anthem. But most people hope that people will take the whole thing more lightly and behave with dignity. Near the Sky Dome, I'm Pam Seidel for CityPulse.
We'll have more on the flags and the series later in sports. Back to you, Ann.
Thank you, Jimmy. Also, I have green.
Tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Molson, NHL Tonight on Real TV, TSN.
Today on Sports Desk, horseshoes for Mr. Ed and the Jays as the series is tied at 1 game all. Some Canadians suspect horseplay in the Deep South as the flag is upended. Guy Carbonneau tries to bring Les Canadiens back to the promised land. And we start this week off with a bang on the 6:30 edition.
Sports Desk, brought to you by Wiser Locks. Quality locks made for Canadians by Canadians.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Van Horn. Welcome to the early report from our TSN Control Center. Quite a weekend in Atlanta for the Jays and the Braves. Atlanta winning the first game on the heroics of Damon Berryhill. The Jays responding last night with a ninth-inning pinch hit two-run homer from Ed Sprague. And despite all the controversy, the bottom line is a 1-all tie in the best-of-7 Fall Classic, and Toronto now has home field advantage. The teams have returned to Toronto, where they are working out at Sky Dome, preparing for Game 3 tomorrow night. Rod Smith has been with the Jays in Atlanta since last week and joins us from Sky Dome with his thoughts on the first two games of the series. Rod?
You know, Jim, Canada was turned upside down twice last night. First, when the U.S. Marines inadvertently held the Canadian flag upside down during the national anthem. And then, a more pleasing event for Canadians, turned upside down by Ed Sprague's home run off Jeff Reardon in the top of the ninth that won the game for the Blue Jays and gave every indication that this World Series is going to be a close one. The Blue Jays and Braves matched up so well before the series began, both teams predicted a close, hard-fought series. And the two teams haven't disappointed anyone so far. Games 1 and 2 have each been decided by one pitch. Jack Morris hung a forkball to Damon Berryhill in Game 1, and he belted a 3-run homer that proved to be the game winner. Then last night in Game 2, Jeff Reardon tried to throw a fastball past Ed Sprague, and the backup catcher evened up the series with his first career postseason homer.
You know, I was just happy. I didn't think about Kurt Gibson or anything. I didn't think that, you know, I'd seen one pitch and hit a home run in my first at bat. I mean, I didn't think about any of those things. I was just happy that we were on top. We had a chance to win. And, you know, we'll go back home to Toronto with one game under our belt.
The series was supposed to be dominated by both teams starting pitching. But while Tom Glavine and John Smoltz have been brilliant for Atlanta, the Jays' 1-2 punch of Jack Morris and David Cohn has not lived up to expectation. Glavine and Smoltz have given up just 3 earned runs in 16 1/3 innings. That's an ERA of 1.78. Morris and Cohn have allowed 6 earned runs in only 10 1/3 innings for an ERA of 5.23. But while Morris and Cohen have struggled, the Jays' bullpen has been almost perfect. David Wells, Todd Stottlemyre, Dwayne Ward, and Tom Henke have combined to pitch 6 2/3 hitless innings of relief, with 7 strikeouts. Atlanta's bullpen is its biggest weakness. No one is afraid of Jeff Reardon anymore. Just ask Ed Sprague. Games 1 and 2 have been close, but some of the calls have been closer. Umpire Mike Riley clearly made the wrong call on a key play in Game 2. Roberto Alomar slides in ahead of John Smoltz's tag on a short wild pitch, but Riley calls him out, and the Jays are denied a run.
We thought he was safe, and, you know, I think we reviewed the tape, and he was, but, you know, umpire has to make a call at that very moment, so we were kind of upset, but obviously Robbie showed a lot of character, and he came back and started a rally in the 8th.
I was telling him that I was safe. My hand was in there. And I told him that he tagged me right in the back. I don't know what Cito was saying because I wasn't paying attention to what Cito was saying, but I know Cito told him that he missed the call.
The Blue Jays are also complaining of an inconsistent strike zone. Alomar was called out on strikes on a questionable pitch in Game 1. And Kelly Gruber was punched out on an inside pitch with the tying run on base in the 8th inning of Game 2. But the Jays and their fans didn't let the umpires or the U.S. Navy color guard rattle them. They got a much-needed split in Atlanta and clearly have the momentum heading into Games 3, 4, and 5 at the Skydome. And joining me now, the man of the hour from Game 2 of the World Series, back in Toronto now. Ed, how did you sleep last night?
I slept real good. You know, we didn't get until early this morning. I think around 8:30 I finally got to sleep. So I slept all right. I think, you know, I'll sleep better again tonight. It's easier to sleep when you got a win underneath your belt. And I think in the offseason I'll have time to replay that moment a little bit more. But right now we got, you know, 3 more games that we want to win, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
One thing that we had talked about last night, because it was just a massive media asking you all these questions, and one thing touched upon was the fact that as a kid you dreamt of a moment like this, you know, in the 9th inning of a World Series game.
Oh, sure. I think every kid dreams of it. You know, I mean, I'm sure the Canadians dream about hockey goals or whatever, and football players dream about scoring the touchdown, and baseball players, they dream about hitting that home run in the World Series. And I've played it 1,000 times in my mind, and I'm sure I'll do it 1,000 more.
Ed, really, the Atlanta Braves know what this is like, winning a dramatic one in the 9th inning. This time it worked against them. They lost a dramatic one in the 9th. And what do you think it'll do to them psychologically coming to the Skydome now for 3 games?
Well, they're a tough team. They played some tough games, and they had, you know, played a good series last year. So I don't see them to have any letdown. We got a little bit of momentum our way, and we're coming home. I think they'd like to win that game, but they realize, you know, these games are going to all be tight, and they're going to, you know, one way or another is going to decide it. So I don't see any letdown from them. I see a little bit of momentum for us, but I don't see any letdown from them.
I would think that even if you didn't play a prominent role for the rest of the way, this has been something that you'll never forget.
Oh, there's no question about it, and hopefully come next year opening day they can put a World Championship ring on our finger.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay.
Ed Sprague, the man of the hour, who turned Canada upside down with that home run in Game number 2. Now let's go back to Sports Desk.
Thank you, Rod. We'll have more from Rod Smith at Skydome in just a few minutes. We're going to take a break so we can all spit. And when we do come back, we will also look at the task of making the World Series a picture-perfect production. And the support for the Jays runs from coast to coast.
I'd like to see Dave Winfield pull up one hell of a home run!
They've got one. They've got one. Elegant, very fashionable.
Wiser locks add so much to your home. They tend to...
81, Los Angeles Dodger right fielder Rick Monday hits a solo home run in the top of the 9th to beat the Montreal Expos 2-1 and eliminate the Expos in Game 6 of the National League Championship Series. With the game on the line, Expo manager Jim Fanning brought in Steve Rogers, normally a Montreal starter, who proceeded to give up the home run to Monday. The Expos eliminated in 6 games from the NLCS on Rick Monday's solo shot 11 years ago today. Boy, did that hurt. Without further ado, let's get back down to Skydome for more on the World Series from Rod Smith, standing by with Buck Martinez.
All right, thank you, Jim. And joining me now to discuss the World Series as it's happened so far, Buck Martinez. And Buck, It has been since 1984 the Detroit Tigers, the last team to win a World Series not having home field advantage. Are we playing that up a bit too much? Have the Jays shown with a win in Atlanta that maybe that trend can be broken?
Well, I think the Jays' win in Atlanta was a huge win for them simply for that reason, because they're going to play 4 games in Atlanta if it goes 7 games. They already have one under their belt, and it was a big win not only for that factor, but they didn't want to come back here 0-2 and have to win 3 straight to stay alive in the series. But the Jays, the home field advantage here, it doesn't fly at all because everybody's comfortable playing in the Sky Dome.
A lot of things are going Toronto's way, obviously. Some of the things that aren't, start with Kelly Gruber. In the last 22 at-bats, he has not had one hit. Really, the only bright moment for him was that home run in Game 2. Should he be concerned, and should the Blue Jays be concerned about his bat?
Well, he would like to be hitting, of course, and the Blue Jays would love to have him hitting, but he's not hitting right now, but it's not a major concern. You'll want to have his glove there at third base. He's made some key plays in the postseason. He got the big hit in this championship series in Game 2 that turned the series around. But Kelly Gruber, like the rest of the club here, everybody in this lineup can contribute. And although Gruber's not contributing right now, I don't think it has everybody concerned.
I'm sure all the Brave Scouts who watched the Blue Jays before the American League Championship Series and even during that series, the word is you can run on them. You can run on them. You can run on them. And they've been running on them.
Yes, they have. They continue to run. They stole 5 bases against David Cohn, but they haven't had the opportunities to cash those runs in, and that's what's significant. The Blue Jays have such a good pitching staff that they can strand runners. So as long as those stolen bases don't end up crossing the plate, I don't think the Blue Jays will be in that much trouble.
A word on the pitching staff for Game 3. It is Juan Guzman, probably the best Jays pitcher in the postseason, up against Steve Avery.
Well, a couple of hard throwers. Guzman's been throwing very well of late, going back to that last Saturday's start against the Tigers. Steve Avery, not as good as he was at the end of last season, but he too is a power pitcher. Jays will have to turn it up a notch against him.
Well, the Jays counted on Juan Guzman to clinch the division title. They counted on him again to clinch the American League Championship, and they will do it one more time heading into Game 3 tomorrow night.
Their hitters are very aggressive, and they're kind of like the Twins were last year. They go up there swinging the bats, and you know, really just going to have to mix up your pitches and hit your spots to be effective, because if you make some bad pitches, they're going to hit it like Carter did, and that's what you don't want to happen.
They're a pretty good team, and they have a good team, but, you know, they don't know my stuff, and I got a good stuff, and even if they know, you know, and I'm going to go hard against them.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you feel very confident knowing what they're capable of?
Well, because I have my confidence, and I'm already doing it. You know, I show to everybody what I can do, and I'm just going to go out there and do my best, keep doing my best the same way that I've been doing it the whole time.
You know, I think a lot of people have said that their big advantage was our lacking of good starting pitching right now, and I thought that was pretty much the farthest thing from the truth that you could say. So I know that we struggled a little bit in the NLCS, and you know, that just proved that we were human.
I've been through 2 big games, really big games. This is a big game for me, you know. But I'm gonna go hard and just keep working, and do my best, keep doing my best all the time.
All right, and joining me now is a familiar face to these parts, Bobby Cox. Bobby, is it kind of funny to be coming back now in a different uniform back in Toronto?
Well, it feels a little bit weird, I suppose, but, you know, I started thinking about this happening last year when we were in the playoffs, and so were the Blue Jays, and I said, God, well, it would sure be great to get back up in Toronto, and this year it became a reality, and I've had a lot of fun seeing the old guys again, and it's a great organization up here in first class, and great people. The fan support up here, getting 8 million people in 2 years, that's something I don't think will ever be duplicated in any other city.
In your day with the Blue Jays, you played at an old exhibition stadium. I remember you said before Game 1, geez, it'd be kind of nice to play there again. Well, after getting the nip in the air, it's kind of cool here in Toronto. I think maybe you'd be more glad to be indoors, don't you?
Well, this is a great facility here. It's dynamite. It's a true ballpark as far as domes go, and it's the best one I've ever seen, and that old ballpark would have been a little nippy tonight to play in.
Is there a home field advantage here, Bobby? The Jays obviously more familiar with this facility, or can that be something that's played up a little too much?
I think this ballpark with the background and all is pretty even for both teams, and nothing like the Metrodome where you do have a problem seeing fly balls and high hops and short fences that are not symmetrical. So it looks like it's a fair match for both teams.
Your assessment of the series so far, it looked like you could have been 2 up, but for that home run by Ed Sprague. It looks like it is going to be as close a series as everyone has predicted.
Well, I think so too, and that's why we carry 25 players. They're all important. And Ed, you know, he's a darn good pinch hitter, and we know he hit Eckersley well in the playoffs pinch hitting. So We didn't exactly like to see him come to the plate, but he did his job. And, you know, it's good to see guys like that don't get the opportunity to be in the regular lineup all the time come through and become a hero.
Bobby, thanks very much, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Ex-Toronto Blue Jay manager, current Atlanta Braves manager, Bobby Cox. And now let's go back to Sports Desk.
Thank you very much, Rod. Good job today. The Jays' appearance in the World Series is without a doubt the biggest sporting event to hit the city of Toronto, and it has captured the imagination of baseball fans across the country. The world has come to Southern Ontario, literally, to send the game to the far corners of the earth. Here's Vic Rauter with more.
We're back in Toronto, and 50,000...
It all seems so easy. Just turn on the TV set, and there it is, the baseball playoffs and World Series. However, getting the pictures and sound from Toronto to the rest of the world takes hundreds of people and millions of dollars of equipment. Some 500 people will be involved with the Sky Dome telecast serving CBS, NHK Japan, Mexican TV, and even Venezuela. And those are just the main broadcasters, because several others will be doing smaller live remotes.
ABC's coming out of here from Atlanta. We have WROC from Rochester. We have ESPN's going to be doing pregame and postgame. We have TSN, of course, that will do pregame and postgame. We have CTV National, CFTO, and CTV Sports all together.
Carlisle is in charge of all live TV events at the Sky Dome, the miles of cables, where wires always seem to lead to more wires, where TV crests are worn by the crews as proudly as World Series rings by players. 30 cameras will cover the games, and you'll hear everything through more than 100 microphones.
Something like this is a big challenge, especially being a World Series, letting people know that Toronto can handle something as big as the Americans can do or anybody else can do.
However, the most important place at Sky Dome for all the World Series broadcasters is this room here and all these patches. It's called CER, the Central Equipment Room. No broadcast, whether it be English, Spanish, or French, can leave Sky Dome, leave Toronto, without going through here. See what I mean? Vic Rauter, TSN, Toronto.
Thanks, Vic. You never looked better. Certainly the impact of the Jays in Toronto will be much greater than, say, in Corner Brook, Newfoundland, or in Nanaimo, British Columbia, but make no mistake about it. Their participation in the World Series has had an impact across Canada. Chris Sedens has more in this report.
Toronto is a big, vibrant city, a world-class city in many ways. But for whatever reason, it's fair to say that in other parts of Canada, Toronto is a city that most Canadians love to hate. But maybe not this week. The Blue Jays are front-page news across the country. Here are some examples. In Edmonton, Blue Jays heaven. In Calgary, Blue Jays fever. Canada gets the World Series. And in the words of the Winnipeg Free Press, T.O. haters no more. Our team's in the series. In Vancouver, we found a lot of homesick Torontonians who've migrated west, but the feeling is high on the West Coast.
Who are you cheering for?
Blue Jays all the way.
How do the Jays look?
They've looked good since 1975. The best baseball team ever.
You're the only Braves fan in this bar.
No, we got two guys from Atlanta down here in front of the bar, a couple of big Tomahawk Chop fans. We're holding them off, holding all these Jay fans.
Meanwhile, across the country in Montreal, fans in this bar were torn between the Jays and Canadians on TV.
Yeah, I'd rather watch the Jays. They're number one. They're going to win it this year.
No, I'd prefer the Jays game, I think. Canes aren't doing too well this year, so I'd rather watch the Jays game, watch a team that's doing well. Although I'd prefer if it was the Expos right now, but maybe next year.
Our next stop is Winnipeg, where we can tell you the Jets and Bombers are certainly on the Jays bandwagon.
I'm a baseball fan, and didn't always used to be, but I think for a few years now I've been a Toronto Blue Jay fan, and I think it'd be great if they win the World Series.
They've showed everybody that they're not quitters this year, and I think it's going to be a long series. It'll go 6 anyway. I'll pick the Blue Jays.
I think they'll take it in 6. Better pitching and better long ball hitters.
And what does Danny McManus think?
Who cares?
He's a Braves fan, though, isn't he?
He's been hit in the head so many times, nobody really cares what he thinks.
The University of Alberta Golden Bears played their season opener Saturday, but many fans were upstairs watching the Jays.
In Edmonton right now, we are pulling 100% behind the Toronto Blue Jays. And you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Winfield. I'd like to see Dave Winfield pull up one hell of a home run. Dave Winfield. Oh, I'd like to see it.
Need we say more?
Yeah, Game 3 will be played tomorrow night starting at 8:30 Eastern. Be sure to join us for baseball tonight with Paul Romanek and Buck Martinez starting at 7 o'clock Eastern. That's tomorrow night. They'll set you up for Game 3 and fill you in on all the latest changes to both sides. That's tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, right after Sports Desk for Baseball Tonight, the World Series. And when we come back, we will focus on the rest of the sports you need to know today. Plenty of news from both the CFL and NFL. Expansion and injuries top the lists north and south of the border. And
what people look for in sports journalism.
Dave Hodge and TSN Inside Sports, weeknights at 7, coming to TSN.
Today on Sports Desk, the World Series comes to Skydome for the first time ever. George Bush apologizes to Canada. They're staying away in droves from Hamilton's Copps Coliseum. And Mike Ditka is one unhappy bear.
Sports Desk is brought to you by Motomaster, Canada's #1 selling replacement parts, and by Prestone Antifreeze Coolant, trusted protection against rust and corrosion.
hello, everyone. Welcome to the Early Report. I'm Jim Van Horn. Game 3 of the World Series will be played tonight at Skydome in Toronto, tied at 1-game between the Jays and the Atlanta Braves. Rumors on the street have scalpers charging well over $1,000 for seats for this series. It's the toughest ticket in town, the toughest ticket to watch history being made. First pitch will be made around 8:30 Eastern tonight under what can best be described as electrifying conditions. Rod Smith has been a part of the Blue Jays World Series search since it started and joins us now from Skydome. Rod, there's been a lot of talk about the Atlanta Braves having to use a designated hitter tonight. Who's it going to be? Sanders, Lonnie Smith, Ron Gant? Any indication at all?
Well, the indication I got, Jim, is that Lonnie Smith, who has a lot of World Series experience, in fact, this is the 4th team he's been to a World Series with, will be the designated hitter for the Braves tonight. That's the big decision they had to make. It's a tough decision for Bobby Cox as well, because Ron Gant, for the 2nd straight game, will be sitting down, and he is not very happy about it at all. But it is Deion Sanders, who played well in Game 2 and gave one of David Cohn's pitches quite a ride, will be the left fielder. So they've got that much sorted out. As for the Jays, this is kind of a bonus because they get their old lineup back. Dave Winfield will be the DH, John Olerud will be back at first, and Candy Maldonado will be back at left field. Now, there was another decision the Braves had to make that concerned pitching. Do you go to the 4-man rotation, put in either Charlie Leibrandt or Pete Smith, or do you come back with Tom Glavine in Game 4? Well, the decision was made. Tom Glavine will be back. He pitched so well in Game 1, a complete game victory. Now, pitching once again tonight, it's the hard thrower Juan Guzman against the tough Braves lefty Steve Avery.
This is a big game for me.
I always look forward to a challenge.
Juan Guzman has posted some impressive numbers this postseason. 2-0 with an ERA of 2.08. The Dominican native has pitched 13 innings this October, striking out 11 batters. In his career, playoffs included, Guzman is 29-8 with an ERA under 3. In Atlanta, Guzman carefully studied Braves hitters and is ready for his World Series debut.
I showed to everybody what I can do, and I'm just going to go out there and do my best. Keep doing my best the same way that I've been doing it the whole time. I've already been checking, what they was doing, what they can hit, and everything. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep my own opinion because that's the way I am. I'm going to pitch a bit of. They're a pretty good team, and they have a good team.
Steve Avery, on the other hand, literally, is no stranger to the Fall Classic, starting 2 games versus the Twins last year. However, this year, he has struggled at times in the postseason. His record is 1-1 with an ERA of 9. But that doesn't concern the 22-year-old lefty, who's more interested in Blue Jay hitters.
Their hitters are very aggressive, and they're kind of like the Twins were last year. They go up there swinging the bats, and, really you're just going to have to mix up your pitches and hit your spots to be effective, because if you make some bad pitches, they're going to hit it like Carter did, and that's what you don't want to happen.
If the starters happen to falter, a look at the bullpen shows that Toronto has great relief pitching in the series, while Atlanta has struggled. The Jays are led by David Wells and Todd Stottlemyre, who have pitched well out of the pen. Throw in Dwayne Ward, who won Game 2, and Tom Henke, who notched his 4th save of the postseason, and the pen looks untouchable. The same cannot be said for Atlanta. Jeff Reardon was touched for 2 runs on Sunday, thanks to Ed Sprague's game-winning home run. Avery versus Guzman. First pitch at 8:29 Eastern. Well, Atlanta's starting staff has been so good, the Braves haven't had to rely on that bullpen that much during the season. Should point out the ages of these pitchers, as we did in the story. Juan Guzman, 25, just in his 2nd year, and Steve Avery, only 22 years of age, but both can pitch well under pressure. Avery's been there before. Guzman seems to love the pressure. He pitched in the clinching game for the division. He clinched in the game that won the championship, the American League Championship for the Jays. Now a big game tonight. Well, it seems to me that it's kind of strange that this is a historic occasion, the first World Series game in Canada. Well, there's talk about Canada and the U.S., but not to do with baseball as much as to do with the flag. That is as big a story as anything else here. And Chris Sedens was outside in the cold and the rain, out from the dome, looking at some of the atmosphere to set up tonight's game.
Cold, windy, and rainy outside the Sky Dome as fans lined up for some last-minute tickets that went on sale.
I waited in line 30 hours today and yesterday, and I'm really, really cold right about now. I'm from St. Catharines, and now I'm just waiting. I got 4 tickets for tonight's game. I was waiting for my mom and my dad and my girlfriend to show up, and it's great. I feel really good.
When the tickets ran out, some fans weren't too happy with Dome officials.
You're sold out. No more seats are going to get sold today.
We just had some releases just about a half hour ago, and we're all done for the day. And we also released some for 3 and 4 for the other 2 games, and we're done.
Programs weren't the only thing being sold outside the Dome this afternoon. Remember Game 2 in Atlanta? One creative entrepreneur is now in the flag-making business.
We were sitting around at lunchtime yesterday, right? And we were saying, well, I mean, this is our national flag. Like, even if it was a mistake, you still got to do something. You either got to laugh it off or you got to get mad. So we decided to have some fun. We got together last night. We did these till like 2 in the morning, stapled them together, and we decided to bring them here and give them to people. Anybody who makes a contribution, we'd be glad to get a bunch of them in the stands.
Okay, hold up the flag. Show us what you've done.
Oh, yeah, we just flipped it around upside down so you can fly both flags. You know, when the Americans are up, you can fly it like this. When the Jays are there, we can wave our flag the right way up and show the Americans how it's supposed to be flown, since they don't know.
Chris Sedens, TSN, Toronto.
You see what I mean? Flag is a big issue tonight. It was expected to be, really, with the first Canadian team in the World Series, but what happened in Game 2 in Atlanta was not expected, so there will be many angry Canadians trying to vent their frustration, rather. Now, one player of the Blue Jays, many of the Jays are Americans, one of them, Kelly Gruber, expressed, I think, the sentiments of a lot of people that it was a terrible thing that happened in Atlanta, but that Canadians really shouldn't be coming out and retaliating the way many are expected to.
There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse at all. If the U.S. Marines said that the case was this fella just didn't know what a Canadian flag was, well, he shouldn't have been carrying it. I'm from the States, and you know, I'm very supportive of the States. But that's no excuse, and there is no excuse for flying a flag upside down. That's ridiculous, and you know, if the people don't know what they're doing, then by golly, get somebody in there that do.
You're hoping that fans don't come here and take it as a slight and start turning Americans?
No, let's not play tit for tat, you know. Let's come and play the game and get along with one another, and everybody makes mistakes. We're not all perfect, and, you know, have that type of atmosphere and have that type of attitude. I think the people here in Canada have that type of attitude, and I think that's what sets them apart from most other people, and for them to get caught up in that race is ludicrous. It's crazy.
Words from Kelly Gruber. Now, another Blue Jay, Dwayne Ward, just walked by saying that he had saw a banner already put up in the Sky Dome around left field saying, with the Canadian flag and the American flag upside down, World Series A. And Dwayne Ward says, and I quote, "That sucks." Jim, throw it back to you.
I think somebody should take that alleged vendor outside the Sky Dome and tell him what he could also do with his flags rod. I think it would be appropriate at this time. We'll get back to you very, very shortly. If you are wondering just how seriously officials are taking the flag fiasco south of the border, the Commandant of the U.S. Marine Corps called Canada's U.S. ambassador yesterday and offered an apology. And today, a higher official offered his apology.
If that had happened in Canada, and we'd have seen the United States flag flown upside down, every American would have been very, very upset. This was a mistake, and it certainly nobody would ever do anything like that on purpose. And so what I wanted to use your program for is to say how badly I feel about it, how badly all the American people feel about it.
Well, the Braves and the Jays really aren't worried about an obvious mistake. They're here to play baseball. Game 3 of the World Series is less than 2 hours away, and we will have more from Rod Smith live at Sky Dome in just a few minutes. And we will also investigate the economic impact on the city and the province when we return after this.
This is the factory of a leading North American tire maker. They make excellent tires with the kind of traction and mileage life you need. In fact, they're so good, we chose them to make Motomaster tires for Canadian Tire. So why don't we identify them? Maybe they're concerned that if you knew they also make Motomaster tires, which come with a nationwide road hazard warranty at no additional charge and a great Canadian Tire price, everybody will buy Motomaster tires. Maybe they're right. Motomaster, Canada's #1 selling replacement tires.
Rust. What it can do to the outside of your car, weak, neglected antifreeze can do to the inside. You need the tough anti-corrosion formula of Prestone. Use fresh Prestone every year to give your radiator and cooling system heavy-duty rust and corrosion protection. No matter what happens to the outside, Prestone protects the inside. Prestone stops the rust that stops your car.
Prestone Antifreeze, available at Canadian Tire.
On this day, October 20th, 1988, Los Angeles Dodger ace Orel Hershiser beats the Oakland Athletics 5-2, leading the Dodgers to a World Series title in 5 games. In his second appearance in the series, Hershiser shut down the mighty Oakland lineup on a 4-hitter and became only the 3rd player to capture league championship and World Series MVP honors. Orel Hershiser leads the Dodgers to victory in the World Series 4 years ago today. Well, just yesterday, we talked about the impact that the World Series has on the media that is gathered from around the world to cover the Fall Classic. There are literally hundreds of journalists in Toronto to cover what is arguably the biggest sporting event ever to hit this part of the country. And that means an economic impact of epic proportions. Here's Vic Rotter with that story.
The streets of Toronto will be paved with gold during the World Series. Fans will spend some $11 million during the 3 games. But it's what money can't buy that has many people more excited.
On Friday, our public relations manager gave interviews to the Los Angeles Times, Atlanta Constitution, and Washington Post. Each of them were doing feature stories on metropolitan Toronto over the weekend, not just on the game, but on the appeal and the attractiveness of the city, because once again, it's a city that's been discovered as a result of this win.
The biggest boost will be to downtown hotels. About 17,000 people attending each and every game will be from out of town.
We are absolutely delighted to have the World Series here. We are totally sold out this whole week, right through until Friday. Well, to a hotel of this size, which is 1,400 rooms, it's worth, to put it mildly, a couple of $100,000 a day.
Of course, all those visitors have to eat, so restaurants also expect business to improve during the World Series. However, it's the souvenir sellers who may just profit the most in this Blue Jays crazy city. T-shirts, well, they've got them. Every style, every description. From B.J. Birdie to balls, pins, hats, pennants. There are even glasses to celebrate a win or drown a loss. You see, fans are buying everything.
Pennants, T-shirts, and hats. World Series champion hats there.
And they are the hottest ticket.
That's the hottest.
And as a store owner, how much is this World Series worth to you, do you think?
About 100,000.
So from the hotels to the restaurants to the souvenir shops on Yonge Street, everyone agrees that for the next 3 days during the World Series, they're going to hit an economic home run. However, they're also quick to point out that for the past couple of years, the economy in Toronto has done nothing but strike out. Vic Roeder, TSN in Toronto.
Thank you, Victor. Baseball is a game of numbers, and in this postseason classic, there have been a number of interesting numbers developed. The home team has won 8 of the last 9 World Series games. The lone exception was the Toronto Jays win Sunday night in Atlanta. In postseason play, National League teams have gone winless in domes, including the Cards in '87 and the '91 Braves, but Atlanta has lost only 3 of 15 domed games this year during regular season play. There are some more facts and figures. The Blue Jays have clubbed at least 1 home run in all postseason games they have played in. Kelly Gruber's slump continues. And that was won by Joe Carter. That was a biggie against Atlanta the other night. Kelly Gruber's slump continues. He has gone 0 for his last 22 at-bats and is 1 hitless at-bat away from setting an all-time futility record for postseason play. Meanwhile, the Braves have been burning up the base paths. Otis Nixon and company have been a perfect 7 for 7 in stolen bases in the series. So far, it hasn't hurt the Jays, but if they continue, it's bound to catch up to them. All right, let's get back down to Skydome now. Rod Smith once again standing by with a guest. Rod?
All right, thank you, Jim. And once again, I'm joined by Mel Antonen of the USA Today, and can't really resist. We should be talking about baseball, but I guess you've got to talk about this flag situation. It's a very big story, and I get the impression there are going to be a lot of angry Canadians retaliating tonight. Is that what you said?
Well, it sounds like it. They're selling thousands of United States flags upside down. I think as long as it doesn't create an international incident or something serious, I think it's fun. Just like 2 friends tweaking each other about doing something silly, but it wasn't intentional, so I don't think there's any malice. It's just, I think it's a lot of fun.
I must admit, as a Canadian, when I saw it happen down in Atlanta, I thought that is a little strange, and it is very irresponsible by the looks of things. How as an American did you feel?
Well, I felt like, boy, that is kind of silly that we got the Canadian flag upside down, and I felt bad for Canadians, and I felt bad for the perception that we don't care about Canada, but that's not the case. It was simply unintentional. It was human error, and as long as people understand that, I think we can have a lot of fun with it. But I know for sure that that's not how Americans think of Canada. I don't think you can take that incident and throw it at and say this is how all Americans think of Canada. That's just not true.
Well, let's move it on to baseball then and stuff on the field. Tonight, Guzman against Avery, a couple of young guys that respond well and really in playoff and pressure situations.
Yeah, both have. I think Juan Guzman's got the edge. He's been pitching so well. That hard slider and that hard fastball, you know, he nailed down the American League East. He nailed down the American League pennant. He's really becoming the Blue Jays' big game pitcher, and I think that he's got a good advantage, and I think he's going to beat him. I think he's going to win.
Great. Thanks a lot, Mel.
Thank you.
Mel Antonen of the USA Today. Jim?
Okay, Rod, thanks. We'll check in again with you a little later on, and be sure to stay with us right after Sports Desk. More news from baseball, the Baseball Tonight Show, the World Series with Paul Romanek and Buck Martinez coming up at 7 Eastern. But there are other things that are underway today other than baseball, and when Sports Desk returns, we'll check